An all-new Top 10 and Vic visits the Indy 500 time trials. First, your local news.
He was like a friend to me.
A stunned community reacts and police search for suspects following the hit-and-run death of a beloved school crossing guard.
Plus, a Connecticut priest committed suicide just weeks after being asked to resign. Good evening, I'm Denise DeCenzo alongside Dennis House, and we have two developing stories we're covering.
We will have a pair of reports on the hit-and-run story in just a moment, but first, the sudden death of a Connecticut priest accused of sexual molestation.
Today, Father Alfred Biederhofer committed suicide at a Catholic psychiatric facility in Silver Spring, Maryland. Channel 3's Lee Ferlisi is joining us live now at St. Andrew's Church in Bridgeport with the latest. Lee?
Denise and Dennis, this is the last place that Father Biederhofer worked before he was removed from his duties as a priest. He resigned in the face of sexual abuse allegations of minors. He was then sent to Maryland to a psychiatric evaluation center, and today hospital officials there spoke of his death.
I'm sad to tell you that a client here for evaluation died today, apparently by suicide.
At a press conference at the St. Luke's Institute in Maryland, a priest announced they had lost one of their patients. By late Thursday, Maryland police had confirmed that the patient that took his life was Bridgeport priest Father Alfred Biederhofer. He was found hanging in his room at the Maryland Treatment Center for Priests.
A man apparently in his 60s apparently did commit suicide, and we're investigating that at this time.
Biederhofer was accused of sexually abusing boys during the 70s and 80s at Bridgeport's Blessed Sacrament Church. Just a few weeks ago, two men came forward and met with church officials, saying they were victims. When Bishop Laurie confronted Father Biederhofer, he offered his resignation, and Bishop Laurie removed him from his duties as a priest. He was then sent here to St. Luke's Institute for a psychiatric evaluation, and authorities say it was here that he ended his life. This Thursday evening, Bishop Laurie offered his condolences to Biederhofer's family, saying, "I am grateful to the many priests, family members, and loved ones who reached out to Father Biederhofer prior to and during the time of his evaluation at St. Luke Institute. In the same way, we must reach out in loving concern to any victims in our community, that they may achieve renewed peace of mind and heart." Now, I spoke with one of the victims on the phone, and they said there is no rejoicing at this tragic turn of events. It is a tragic loss, and they said they offer their condolences to the family of Father Biederhofer. Denise, back to you.
All right, Channel 3's Lee Ferlisi reporting live in Bridgeport tonight. Now, Bishop William Laurie has scheduled a 10 o'clock press conference in Bridgeport tomorrow morning to address this death. We'll also have some more information coming out of Silver Spring, Maryland pretty soon. We're going to go live to Maryland in just about 5 minutes.
Right now we go to our other big story tonight, the hit-and-run death of a 76-year-old crossing guard in New Britain. Two men crashed into the guard at Ellis and Glen Streets around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Then they took off. Our team coverage starts with Channel 3's Andre Hepkins live in New Britain with the search for the suspects. Andre.
Well, that's right, Dennis. New Britain police are still looking for two men responsible for speeding in a stolen car out of Bristol, then striking and killing a 77-year-old crossing guard. It all happened at around 3 o'clock, 1 block away from school. And just a short time ago, police released the photo of one suspect.
We have one male who is described as wearing a green T-shirt with long sleeves and baggy black pants, possibly a Hispanic male.
Take a good look at this picture of 26-year-old Benjamin Blauvelt. New Britain police think he's the man who sped the stolen Porsche down Glen Street and plowed right into 77-year-old Samuel Monroe.
You know, the crossing guard was there for the purpose of doing school traffic, though.
Monroe had just reported to his post as a crossing guard at the intersection of Glen and Ellis, a block away from the northern school.
One of our officers saw a car being operated at a high rate of speed.
Investigators say that when the car collided with Monroe, it carried him a distance until he fell off and tumbled down the road into a driveway.
It appeared that the victim was propelled some distance by the vehicle.
The driver and accomplice left Monroe's body behind and kept going. They ditched the car behind this apartment complex on Edgewood Avenue by the Burlintown line. In fact, detectives wouldn't let this woman get in her car because they had to dust it.
Maybe somebody leave their fingerprints in the top.
When investigators found the car, they sent the state police chopper in the air and they flooded the ground with cops from all over the area and more.
East Hartford provided a K-9 unit, and officers from Berlin, Newington assisted us.
New Britain police launched this massive manhunt to find the person who killed Doris Monroe's husband, a retired man who started a part-time job as a crossing guard in September.
He would go in the morning and cross
cross the children, and then he would go back in the afternoon when school was out and cross them again. He had extensive injuries, very extensive, and there was just nothing that they could do to save him.
Monroe was originally taken to New Britain General Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Meantime, police are still looking for Benjamin Blauvelt. He was originally wanted for a misdemeanor for not showing up in court on April 10th for a motor vehicle charge. When police find him, they will charge him with murder, among several other charges, and police believe that he is in New Britain as we speak. So far, there is no description on the other suspect. Meantime, my colleague Shari Sadeh has been talking to people who knew and loved Samuel Monroe, and she picks up that part of the story.
76-year-old Sam Monroe used to help kids cross this street every day on their way to North End Elementary School around the corner. Now the crossing guard, who was a fixture in this neighborhood, is gone forever.
Flowers were left near the spot where Sam Monroe usually stands.
He was like a friend to me.
Monroe was helping 7-year-old Michael McNeil's schoolmates cross over Glen Street. Police say some North End Elementary School kids saw the incident. Neighbors say Monroe was well known throughout the neighborhood.
He's our neighbor, and, you know, he was the type of guy that was always out socializing with everybody, you know, and come around the neighborhood. If you were, you know, in your backyard, he'd come sit with you and, you know, hang out with you, and just really nice guy.
Local residents find it hard to believe they will no longer see Monroe's smiling face every morning on their way to work.
See him crossing kids every morning. I mean, look like a quiet guy, you know, always talking with the kids and stuff, making sure they're safe.
I don't know very much about him, except that he was very nice person, and very caring about the children that were in the area.
Everyone we spoke with who knew Sam Monroe had just about the same thing to say about him, that he was a friendly, kind man who loved children and will be sorely missed. In New Britain, Shari Sadeh, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Again, if you have any information that could help catch the driver, you are urged to call New Britain Police.
Back now to our top story, the Bridgeport priest who committed suicide in Maryland today.
Police and church officials in Silver Spring talked to reporters tonight, and one of them was reporter Cindy Pena. She's joining us now live from WUSA TV, our sister station in Washington, D.C. Thanks for spending some time with us, Cindy, tonight.
You're very welcome.
What are police saying? Did they happen to find a suicide note?
Police aren't saying anything about the evidence. Right now, they say that a 911 call led them to the scene. When they arrived there, they found the priest hanging in his room. There were no signs of foul play. They did have a homicide detective on the scene to check for signs of foul play, but there were none, and they are ruling this a suicide. The priest's body was taken to Baltimore to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy. We should get those reports tomorrow or the day after.
Cindy, what can you tell us about the hospital? What kind of patients does it normally treat?
There are about 60 to 65 psychiatric patients at St. Luke Institute. This is a private Catholic psychiatric hospital that treats patients for psychiatric illnesses, alcoholism, depression, and pedophilia. It is a very well-regarded facility in the United States, and priests are brought here from throughout the United States and some from overseas.
Cindy, what are church officials in Washington saying about this suicide?
Church officials are really are allowing the diocese from Bridgeport, Connecticut to come forward with their information. We had a statement tonight from Bishop William Laurie, who incidentally did come from the Washington, D.C. area to Bridgeport, Connecticut. But they are deferring all of the statements to the Bridgeport, Connecticut officials over there.
Cindy, thanks for your insight tonight. Cindy Pena with our sister station, CBS affiliate of Washington WUSA TV.
One other note about the church crisis, the Archdiocese of Hartford took a new step today to track priests accused of sexual abuse. Archbishop Daniel Cronin has agreed to use a state child abuse hotline to report abuse allegations against members of the clergy. The move came after the State Child Protection Agency expressed concern that Cronin may not be reporting abuse in a timely manner.
In other news this Thursday, Hartford police today confirmed that a gun deal gone bad led to a shootout on a busy North End street yesterday. Police today showed off those weapons they grabbed yesterday afternoon, among them an Uzi machine gun and several 9mm pistols. Police say a man from Louisville, Kentucky is under arrest right now for bringing the weapons up here and then opening fire on Blue Hills Avenue.
These are 10 weapons, illegal weapons that will not be used, presumably in crime in Hartford. So the city is somewhat safer knowing now that we have individuals who are arrested and weapons, illegal weapons that have been confiscated.
18-year-old Jamar Joyner of Hartford is still hospitalized in serious condition with bullet wounds to his stomach.
Police from coast to coast are on the lookout for this man, 27-year-old Julian Lockhart of Meriden, wanted in the murder of a young Navy veteran from Wallingford. 22-year-old Robert Glidden was beaten to death last Thursday after meeting with 3 men who were interested in buying his car. Earlier today, Yale New Haven police chased a man who fit Lockhart's description, but it turned out to be a false alarm.
At a New Britain courthouse today, a woman accused of animal abuse got an angry reception.
This is the cat that she shaved, beat with a log.
Jill Mazurek is charged with beating her roommate's cat and then throwing it repeatedly into Silver Lake in Berlin until it drowned. Protesters jeered Mazurek as her father went after the television cameras. 2 other people were with Mazurek when the cat was beaten to death. All 3 faced cruelty to animals charges. Mazurek's case was continued today.
Questions are mounting in Washington tonight about how much the Bush administration knew about terrorist threats in the months before September 11th. The government began receiving heightened reports of terrorist threats as far back as last May. There was even an internal FBI memo warning about large numbers of Arabs enrolling at U.S. flight schools. In August, federal agencies were quietly put on alert, and the White House was briefed about a possible terrorist hijacking. But the warning gave no specific details, and no one imagined a plane would be used as a missile.
It's no surprise to anybody that Osama bin Laden wanted to attack the United States. But as the CIA Deputy Director for Operations just pointed out, the question was how, what methods, where, when.
Did the right officials not act on the intelligence in the proper way? These are the things we need to find out.
And the White House says it will cooperate with any possible congressional hearings. And now there's word the grueling, painful recovery mission at Ground Zero will end on May 30th. That's when the last heap of debris will be hauled away. The job is actually being completed a few months ahead of schedule because of the mild winter in New York. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg says there will be a ceremony on the 30th to honor the victims, the rescuers, and the recovery workers.
In tonight's Forensic Files, we look at a murder from 1969 that wasn't solved until 1999. That's when a woman's body was found inside a metal drum in a crawl space in a home in Long Island. A handful of different owners over the years had noticed the drum, but thought nothing of it. As Channel 3's Susan Raff tells us, finally, when it was opened, it unleashed a big mystery.
There were multiple fractures to the skull. In some areas, the skull was broken into small pieces.
The autopsy also revealed that the woman was pregnant. Finding out who she was and who killed her would test the limits of forensic science. The most promising clue was her address book, but it was unreadable.
Because it was so heavily and thickly encrusted with a brownish yellow slime.
They used a forensic drying cabinet to absorb the liquid. Then they used spectral analysis, infrared and ultraviolet lights.
Some names and phone numbers and addresses started to come up in the book. It was actually quite amazing.
One of the names, Howard Elkins, once lived in the house where the barrel was stored. And another woman knew the victim's name. She said her friend, Angelica Marokin, was pregnant and disappeared.
She was crying. She was terrified. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me.
Angelica made a fatal mistake when she telephoned her lover's wife and told her she was pregnant. Although she kept her lover's name a secret, police deduced it was Howard Elkins who once owned the house and worked for a company that used 55-gallon drums. After they questioned Elkins, he committed suicide and the case was closed. With Forensic Files, I'm Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
It's interesting, the drum was there for many years, and many of the owners looked at it, and it was too heavy to move. Never questioned until the final owner
30 years
got curious,
later.
yeah.
Wow. Still to come here on the Night Beat, another decades-old murder revisited, this time in a Connecticut courtroom.
The defense says it's the real start of the Michael Skakel murder trial as the focus shifts to the Kennedy cousin and whether he confessed to killing his Greenwich neighbor.
It's been delayed once already. Now will New Britain-based Stanley Tools move to Bermuda? Be put on hold permanently? The latest is coming up next.
Boy, it seems temperatures in the 80s has certainly been delayed, but we had that today. What a lovely day, and it's still very mild outside right now, but changes are coming. I'll show you Doppler 3000 and tomorrow's forecast in just a minute.
Plus, you see them on street corners everywhere, and it's a convenient meal on the run. But how safe is the food you're eating from your favorite vendor? We'll take the guesswork out of your next meal. Eyewitness News NightBEAT continues in just 90 seconds. This is Connecticut's news station.